There is just one side left fighting on four fronts this season, and that side is back in action tonight. The Reds could finish this week with yet another piece of silverware under Jurgen Klopp. But first, he must steer the team through a tricky league match this evening, and potentially do so with a host of first-team regulars. It can be tough up at the top. It is Liverpool versus Luton in the Premier League. It's a 7:30 p.m. kickoff here at Anfield. We've got over an hour of build-up before Peter McDowell and Jay Spearing have a live audio commentary for you as well. You're welcome along to Anfield and to Matchday Live, and a warm welcome to Gary Gillespie and Gemma Bonner, who are down pitchside with me this evening. We'll get the thoughts of the guys in just a second, but first it's worth underlining just how tight it is at the top of the Premier League table. Man City's 1-0 win over Brentford last night, courtesy of that Erling Haaland goal, means just 2 points separate the top three sides. It is Arsenal versus Newcastle on Saturday night. Bournemouth host City at 5:30 that day as well. Well, guys and girls, it is getting exciting, it is getting nervy, there is plenty to play for, and that table, Gary, just underlines there is no room for error at the moment.
Yeah, I think even last night's result, Manchester City against Brentford, I think it just emphasises how difficult it is to win football matches. You know, Brentford gave it a real good go and pushed Manchester City all the way, and I think we can expect something similar here tonight against Luton. I think from what we've seen so far, Luton do give it a go. They're actually in your faces in most of the games. Not really had a real drubbing so far this season. They always seem to be in contention in matches. So Liverpool will have to be somewhere at their best if they want to get the 3 points tonight. Yeah,
Gemma, at this point in the season, especially with so many things up in the air at the moment, it's just win. No matter how you win, just win. It can be ugly as you like, win.
100%. I think a lot of the players have spoke about mentality. I think when you're in the title race and competing on all fronts, you have to have that calmness. There's big games coming every week, every 2-3 days, and I think tonight Luton will come here thinking they've got an opportunity. But I think there's enough within the Liverpool squad still. Yes, we're missing players, but there's so much opportunity. We look at the likes of Conor Bradley, who's come in, he's done fantastically well. He's taken that opportunity, and it gives players a chance to go and step up, and they want to be out there playing, and you know it's going to be a full house tonight, and getting Anfield behind them, I think that'll be massive.
Yeah, I think the one thing that what happens when new players come in, or players that haven't maybe played for a long time, it gives you a freshness, it gives you a renewed kind of vigour, and I'm sure that's what the manager's looking for, his performance like from the players tonight.
I guess as well, Gary, there can almost be a circle the wagons mentality. Like everyone's talking about who we've not got, who is missing. You go out and prove them you're just a bit as good as those guys.
Well, I think it emphasised the fact, you know, when Mohamed Salah went away to the AFCON Nations Cup, I think we all looked at and think, where's the goals going to come from in this team? And then we were like something like with 22 goals without Mohamed Salah in the games that he missed. We lost one game against Arsenal, which is a game that, like, even the best of players that had been playing, you could have lost. So I think it's an opportunity, and I think we've seen like young Harvey Elliott throughout the course of this season has stepped up on numerous occasions when being asked. So big performances for the guys that are coming in, the likes of Gravenberch, the likes of Cody Gakpo, the likes of Harvey Elliott, but we've seen that in the past that they're more than capable of doing that.
Yeah, you mentioned Conor Bradley coming in and taking his opportunity. Sometimes necessity is the mother of invention. You find ways to cope, and you find players who can do something for you that perhaps you hadn't expected them to do. We've seen that with him. We've seen Jarell Quansah, for example, this season, a mainstay of the group.
Yeah, I think it's probably happened more than people have realised this season. I think you look at Kelleher coming in, you look at the defensive changes, losing both left backs at the same time, Gomez slotting in, and you know, you listen to Jurgen when he does his press conference, and he said, if you don't have time to work with the player who's filling in, then it can maybe become a problem. But they've had training sessions, they've been with the training squad for probably since pre-season, so they know how to play, they know how to do the Liverpool way, and I think it shows the strength of the academy as well in terms of the boys that are stepping in. They're going to relish playing on this occasion with the crowd. Like we said, I think they're going to play a huge part tonight. So yeah, I think it's definitely an opportunity, and one that they'll definitely look to take.
Yeah, he was so sort of pragmatic with his answers yesterday in that media conference. He says, look, as long as you've got one session to kind of talk through guys, he says they're good on the ball, they're good without the ball, you just need those slight adjustments. So when it happens on the morning of the game, that's when it causes the manager problems. that's kind of what you want to hear if you're sat here tonight watching on and looking at the team sheet drop in 5 minutes' time.
Well, I think you've got what you've got, and that's what the manager's philosophy is. He's worked with these players for probably 5-6 years now, the majority of them, so they know what he wants, and I think they're more than capable of providing what he wants as well. I think we've seen that in the past. I think the training sessions are on a regular basis, probably doing the same thing on a daily routine, and I think it's just a case of going out there on a match day and producing it. Obviously maybe the one or two, McAllister has come in at the beginning of the season, Endo coming in at the beginning of the season, but they're intelligent players, they're seasoned pros as well, and if you've got seasoned pros on your side, they pick it up pretty easily, and I don't think that's a problem, to be quite honest with you.
The thing is, with some clubs, you might have a situation where you go, well, you know what, we're in the middle of the table, it doesn't matter, we can kind of bin this off tonight and focus on the cup final on Sunday. But here that doesn't really work, does it? Especially in the position we are in, because the league titles may be there.
Yeah, I mean, for the young players it could probably be quite daunting, but I think what Jurgen does is he fills them with confidence, and I think we all know he wouldn't play them if he didn't think they could do the job. So I think add in the young players, and you've still got the huge leaders, Van Dijk, you've got Gomez out there who, you know, he's probably underestimated the effect that he's had this year and playing a numerous amount of positions. So I think having those steady, experienced heads, they really help them guide through the game, because they'll see it themselves in training and they'll know how good of players they are coming through. And I think it's only been proven with the young players that have come in. You've got Jarell Kwanzaa every single game, you know, they've never looked out of place. So I think a huge credit and confidence comes from Jurgen putting them in and trusting them on these big type of games.
And I guess an extension of that is the confidence a young player will get from having a team talk from Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp comes up to you, Jurgen Klopp, and says, I think you're a really good player. All of a sudden that player's a few inches taller going out on a game like tonight, or if they're called off the bench or at the weekend.
Yeah, 100%. I think as a player, the biggest thing you want is trust and confidence from your manager. No matter whether you're going on for 5 minutes to close out a game or you're starting in a debut, I think confidence is probably so underestimated, and having a player's value felt and trusted to go out and do what they're capable of and do it to their best ability, I think. But I think it also shows the culture around the whole team, and not just Jurgen, that, you know, Jurgen can say something, but it's how you're made to feel when you're out on the pitch, because as soon as you step over that white line, you've got the rest of the team behind you, and I think that's one huge strength that Liverpool have got. And when you're competing on every single trophy and you're playing games, you need that.
Yeah, you know, competing on four fronts is very difficult. That's why teams don't go and win 3-4 trophies that regularly, if ever. But it comes with pitfalls. You just have to accept it. And we'd rather be in this position, Gary, than where we were 12 months ago when the season was just sort of drifting to no real conclusion. We've got things to win. Chances are we won't win all of the things. We might not win any of the things, but we could win some of them.
Well, it's the old adage, isn't it? You've got to be in it to win it, and I think that's probably like what Liverpool Football Club are all about. It, you know, like you go back to my day where you're contesting like a lot of things, but that's where you want to be. You want to have 60 odd games. You want to be put under pressure. You want to be fighting with the likes of Manchester City, the likes of Arsenal. We want to get back into the Champions League and perform in the Champions League. We've got the Europa League this season, obviously, but what a big opportunity to go all the way to a final in Dublin. So I think this football club is all about being successful, and we have to say that over the tenure that Jurgen Klopp has been manager, we've been in contention for for most of the seasons that he's been here, and long may that continue. I know it's going to end at the end of the season, but let's hope we send him off with something to go away with, some trophy and some silverware. The Holy Grail is always the Premier League, isn't it? But we're right in there. It's a little bit too early to be talking about winning the Premier League. I always say to win league titles you still have to be there come round about March time, just after Easter, and be in contention. So there's still a few games to go before that, but if we're still up there fighting come Easter time, then who knows what can happen.
Yeah, you do get a sense that the script, given how Jurgen's career has gone, is maybe written for him to bow out with something to lift above his head come the end of the season, come May. OK, well, it's that time now to go and get the important team news ahead of tonight. What kind of side has Jurgen Klopp been able to pick for this clash with Luton? Let's get the details of both lineups now from Rob Jones.
Mark, thank you very much indeed. As you've already discussed in the programme tonight, Jurgen Klopp has plenty of injury problems to consider. A lot of those arose in that lunchtime victory over Brentford on Saturday, but he makes 5 changes to his team tonight from the one that won in West London at the weekend. Into the team come Joe Gomez, Jarell Quansah, Ryan Gravenberch, Harvey Elliott and Cody Gakpo. To the bench, Ibrahima Konate and Andy Robertson, and no place in the matchday squad for Curtis Jones, Diogo Jota or Darwin Núñez. Mohamed Salah is absent for Liverpool tonight as well. So the Liverpool team in full this evening. Kevin Kelleher will start a 3rd Premier League match in a row for the first time in his career. It's a back 4 of Conor Bradley, Quansah, Virgil van Dijk, the captain, makes his 250th start for the club with Gomez at left back. It'll be a midfield 3 of Waturu, Endo, Alexis McAllister, who scored his 2nd Liverpool goal at the weekend, and Gravenberch. Harvey Elliott makes his 100th appearance for the club tonight in a front 3 alongside Luis Diaz, who got the late equaliser against Luton earlier in the season, and Gakpo. Subs: Adrian, Konate, Tsimikas, Robertson, Clark, Gordon, McConnell, Dans and Nioni. Well, as for Luton, Rob Edwards takes charge of his 50th league game for the club tonight, and he names exactly the same 11 that started the 49th, a 2-1 defeat to Manchester United at Kenilworth Road on Sunday, where Luton fell into a very quick 2-goal deficit, but fought back and perhaps maybe deserved something from that game. So let's just run you through the Luton team then. Thomas Kaminski will start in goal, the only Luton player to have played in every single Premier League game this season. It'll be a back 3 of Ted Mengi, Gabe Osho and Amari Bell, who missed the game in November through to injury, but he's started 13 straight now in the Premier League. The 2 wing-backs will be Chio Ogbeni and Alfie Doughty, who's supplied 5 Premier League assists for Luton this season, with the midfield 2, Albert Sambi Lakonga and Ross Barkley, who scored twice in his last 3 starts against Liverpool. Cooley Woodrow and Taith Chong, who scored for Luton in the reverse fixture early in the season, will provide the support for Carlton Morris, who has either scored or assisted in his last 5 Premier League games, a sequence only bettered this season in the top flight by Messrs Salah, Saka and Rasmus Højlund. The Luton subs: Krul, Potts, Berry, Kabore, Burke, Ruddock Panzu, Clark, Townsend and Nelson. Luton have never won in 14 attempts here in the league at Anfield. They would dearly love to change that tonight and boost their own hopes of Premier League survival.
Thank you, Rob. Yeah, we knew there would be changes for Liverpool. We knew things would perhaps be light, but that starting 11, Gary, still strong enough to win a Premier League game, and there's no question about that. It's maybe what's on the bench later that's a bit untested, with the likes of Dans and Nioni in there.
Yeah, I think we've seen that before, that we've had a very young bench, but starting 11 I think is as strong as obviously what you can put out, but it's still competitive, and especially against a Luton side that are obviously fighting for their lives to stay in the Premier League. So I think it's more than capable of getting a result tonight. I think we've seen it in the past, as I say. Some of the players that have come in, they've performed exceptionally well, and hopefully that'll be the case again tonight, and give an exceptional performance.
We can take something from the way the guys went about the win at Brentford and the way they dealt with the problems that crept up through the course of the game, disrupted by the injuries in terms of the disruptions to the momentum of the game, but also losing personnel. And albeit we've lost a couple of goal scorers from that game for tonight, they've shown they can adapt to the problems that arise.
Oh, I think 100%. I think the amount of, probably problems as such that Liverpool have come up against with the injuries, with the substitutions, the changes in games, I think, they deserve so much credit for how much they've come through that game. Again, you have to adapt with players playing in different formations, slotting in the game, and I think, early on in the season we dealt with sendings off, so it's not new to this Liverpool team. And again, you've got the experienced players who are stepping up. You see McAllister there scoring the goals, and I think it's an opportunity now for other players. You've got Harvey Elliott coming in, his 100th game, that you forget how young he is at times, but he's so experienced that it gives him an opportunity. And I think these players have been training with the best players every single day, so for them, they've learned so much, and now it's for them. They want to be out there and they want to be playing.
I think it's bonkers to think that Harvey Elliott has had like 100 games, and how many did he miss? Like that bad injury he picked up against Leeds put him out for a long time that season, so he could have easily been on 150 games. And what age is he, 20 or something like that? I think it says all about his ability and his capabilities.
We've also seen this season that players are ready to come in. It's not a case where players need a few games to get up to speed. The way they train, the way they're prepared, the way they're mentally sorted for matches means guys come in straight away and are ready to go.
Oh, definitely. I think you can see there Cody Gakpo. I think I was delighted that he actually scored that goal right near the end of the game. I think he's been needing that for a while, and he's obviously suffered with playing at a few different positions. He's been dropped in midfield, he's been put out wide, and I think the injuries that Liverpool have got up top will give him probably an extra boost because he wants to be up there, he wants to be scoring the goals, and I think when he did score that goal, you could see how much it meant to him. So I think players like him, you're only going to see more and more come from him. And I think he's had to be patient in terms of how much playing time he's had. But, when you've got the games coming up, you've got a final, they're going to be excited and they want to go and get that shirt and hold on to it for when the players do come back.
I think he's actually been put into the background a little bit, Cody Gakpo, but when you look at his stats, he scored 10 goals. That was his 10th goal down at Brentford this season, which for a player of his, where he starts most of the games, probably midfield or that false number 9, it's a good return from goals. And we've still got 13, 14 games to go, probably even more, considering the FA Cup, obviously, and the Europa League. So, I think that's a really good return for him, a player that probably has gone under the radar just a little bit.
It was interesting in his press conference yesterday. Jurgen was asked about Cody Gakpo and he said, you know what, by me playing him in midfield, it probably took away a little bit from what he could do offensively in goal scoring, so he sacrificed himself for the team to a point. One of the players who had a couple of good moments in that game at the weekend was Kevin Kelleher. He's been called on recently, Rob just mentioned, third successive Premier League match. He might be called on moving forward as well, but we've seen he's got good experience now playing for this team and he's shown he can do the job.
Yeah, I think for him to be a second choice keeper, I think he's one of the best. I think Jurgen says it himself, he comes up with those big moments, those big saves, and I think the way that Liverpool play, you're naturally going to be exposed at the back in terms of the counter-attacks, and you need the goalkeeper and the back line to really step up and perform in those moments, and I think he's definitely been a huge part. And you take Alisson away, but you've got a more than capable replacement in terms of coming in, and Alisson's no easy player to replace either. That's huge pressure, and both in and out possession, you can see the amount of crucial moments he's made to keep Liverpool in these games.
I think when you're training with the best goalkeeper in the world, you've got to pick up some useful hints. I think we saw the performance against Burnley as well, albeit we won the game comfortably in the end. He makes big saves at important times, and that's what top-class goalkeepers do, and there's no doubt that he is a top-class goalkeeper. The interesting thing will be, come the end of the season, does he stay at Liverpool or does he go?
Well, either way, he's going to have a prominent role to play. It's interesting, a lot of his experience he's got, and he's got quite a decent amount now, has come more in the Cups than in the Premier League. This is just his, 10th Premier League outing. But again, that kind of experience will stand him in good stead. But if he can deal with the pressure of cup finals, he can deal with the pressure of a game against Luton here tonight.
Yeah, I think when you look at the games that he's actually played, he's played in some big games. I mean, let's face it, he won us the Carabao Cup 2 seasons ago when he took that penalty. No, I think there's no problem with that. I think his attitude, his mental strength is very, very good. He never seems fazed about things when you look at him. Yeah, I think Alisson Becker, who knows how long he's going to be out, but in saying that, you've got a very, very, very able deputy in Kevin Kelleher.
He literally won us the League Cup last time we won it a couple of years ago. And you look at his record in shootouts with the gloves rather than the boot, and he's been the most successful Liverpool goalkeeper for penalty kicks as well. So it just underlines he's got that big game pressure mentality, which he displayed in that League Cup final, has displayed so far, and may display at the weekend.
Yeah, I think, especially with a goalkeeper, I think the change in the goalkeepers can sometimes upset the rhythm of the team or the back line, and I think you can't really tell a difference in terms of who's playing in goal for Liverpool, and I think that shows the confidence that the back line have. Liverpool don't change the way that they play when he's in the side, and neither do they feel like they have to protect him more. So I think that shows, the back line and the team really have that strength and that confidence in him, and like you say, he really shows up in the shootouts too.
Well, let's be honest about it, he would have played at the weekend anyway, regardless of Alisson Becker being fit. I think that was like a shoo-in that he was going to start in the cup final anyway, so I think why not?
Yeah, he's been a big presence, and I guess the good thing is he'll have the trust of the players in front of him. You played at the back. it's not as if someone's coming in they don't know or someone they've got doubts about. Like, and they know, especially in this team, knock it back to his feet, no problems whatsoever. In some ways, he's maybe even better than Ali with his feet in certain situations.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you have to have the confidence to come in and do that no matter what stage you're on, if it's a cup final or if it's at Anfield here. And I think, like we said before, they train in, day out with the best players, and that's where you create your habits, and it almost becomes the easy bit playing the game, because the intensity, the training standards, they're so high and it's so intense that when you actually come to the game, you're more than prepared, and you just have to go out and do the performance, what you've been working on through the week.
OK, guys, let's break off from the on-field action for a moment to focus on something happening off-field. That is the fans making their way into the new Anfield Road, and it's up and running now, back to full capacity after the refurbishment. For the Burnley game, there were just shy of 60,000 people in here in total for that game. What will we get tonight, and how have they gone about building that fabulous structure? Rob Jones speaking with Paul Cuttle now from the club's operations team.
Well, Paul, edging closer and closer to full capacity, but when you look at it filling up now, and you saw it at the Burnley game, how proud does it make you for the part you've had in sort of redoing this stand?
Oh, amazingly proud. I mean, not just proud, I'm proud of the team. I mean, it's been a massive team effort to get to this point. I mean, if you think where we were back in August when, the construction, they'd left site and we had to start all over again, to get us to open and see it full now, once and for all, it's just it was an amazing feeling, Very proud of everybody.
You touched on the bumps in the road there. Does that make you appreciate it more when it's done and finished in all its glory?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, there's been a lot of sleepless nights for a lot of people to getting it to this point, but to see it with the fans in it is just amazing. It's an incredible feeling. It's been really good to hear the noise and the difference, and hopefully now really push the team on to the end of the season. And let's see, hopefully it'll make that big difference that we need.
Take me through the emotions then as the stand sort of fills up bit by bit. Are you always sort of thinking, well, I hope this works, I hope that's okay, rather than just thinking, oh wow, it looks brilliant today?
Yeah, there's a lot of challenges. I mean, we can all come in the first thing in the morning and it's all set up and ready to go. It's kind of, you feel like we're in a good place, but there's lots of things that can happen. And the team I've got around me are well prepared to deal with those challenges and fix them as they need to, and just make the evening go well. That's what we're all here for.
Have you allowed yourself a sort of look up to it when a goal goes in?
Yeah, so when the first game, when that was full, we actually came and stood out on the stand. It was to hear You'll Never Walk Alone, and literally hear the crowd in its entirety, 60,000 people nearly, sing You'll Never Walk Alone. It was very emotional. It was one of those moments that, I've been here a long time, but it's right up there as a real proud moment.
The problem, though, with building towards something is the moment it's done, I guess you always start looking to what the next thing is. So it was fascinating to see a picture of this ground back in the mid-90s last week as to what comes next in terms of improvements.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's still a bit to do in this stand. The fan zone underneath, that won't open until the start of next season, but when it does, that'll be a new addition to the stadium. And then, the wider footprint around the stadium, we're always looking at how we can reinvigorate it, make it better, make it different. So, yeah, watch this space. There may be some future developments.
Just a final word then on the feedback you're getting from the supporters as to how much they're enjoying being in the new stand, the views they're getting.
Oh, the view is amazing. I mean, when you go up there, it is one of the best views. You can not only see the entire stadium, you can see the Kop in all its glory as well. So it's a phenomenal view, and the feedback we've had has been really impressed. It's got some really good facilities, great views. So people are really enjoying it.
Yeah, great facilities, great views, and it is massive. OK, that's all for the moment. If you're with us on social media, then we are saying goodbye. If you want even more from the three of us, though, then don't despair. You can find out details of how to subscribe to LFC TV and LFC TV Go online at liverpoolfc.com/watch. OK, we've got an audio commentary with Peter McDowell and Jay Spearing for you tonight. It starts just before the 7:30 kickoff. Live reacts from us here gets underway at about 9:45 tonight. And then the full match replay is available on TV and Go from midnight. And don't forget that Inside Anfield is on YouTube and Facebook from tomorrow. Time for a short break from us, then we'll come back with more build-up as the youngest Liverpool side in 6 years prepares to take to the field against Luton.